Good morning. I'm coming to you today from Kampala in Uganda for some more thoughts from the Bible. Thank you so much for joining me here. I have new videos every Monday, every Friday to give us just a few minutes each week to explore this wonderful book and to think what it means for us today. So it's really interesting, I find, reading a verse in the Bible in a different translation to the one that you're used to, especially if it's a verse that you know really well. So Isaiah chapter 55 verse 8 tells us, For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. Well, I read this recently in the NLT, the New Living Translation, which just puts it in a slightly different way and helps us to understand it a little bit differently. It says, my thoughts are nothing like your thoughts, says the Lord, and my ways are far beyond anything you could imagine. I just love that. My ways are far beyond anything you could imagine. Even our wildest dreams are nothing compared to what God can imagine for us. Now, I have quite an active imagination as an author, and so I find this absolutely amazing. God's thoughts for my life are beyond my own imagination. But this gets even more exciting when you start to think about what the Bible promises us. So on Monday last week, I talked about God being on our side, about God being for us. And the Bible assures us that that is the case. So the God who is on our side, the God who is working on our behalf, is doing so in ways that we can't even begin to conceive, in ways that are beyond our wildest imagination. That excites me. All of my own plans and my schemes, the very best things that I can come up with on my own, that's all well and good, but God is on my side and he is bringing things about in a way that I can't even imagine, to help me to live a life that is extraordinary, that is beyond my wildest dreams. That's pretty cool. If only we could get to grips with the truth of this, then I think it would dramatically change the way that we live. If we really truly believed and lived as if God's ways were better than our ways, then there would be some things that we could put down that are not helpful to us. We could let go of the pressure to achieve all of the time, of thinking and being fed that lie that our worth is dependent upon what we achieve. We could let our own thoughts about ourselves and those negative thoughts of other people stop weighing us down. We could put aside the sin that so easily ensnares, committing ourselves to fully follow the God whose ways are far beyond anything that we can imagine. Now, if we can let those things go, if we can put down our own crowns, the things that are the most important to us, if we can put down our own inflated sense of self-importance and start to fully rely on God, then we could enter into arenas in our lives that are beyond anything that we could ever imagine. How often do we hold ourselves back from fully surrendering to God? How much are we missing because we want to do things our own way? And I'm not saying that we just sit back and relax and do nothing and wait for God's far better plans to come into play, because God works through us. He works in us. He works through the plans and the ideas that we have. He has given us minds to think and hearts that feel and all of those wonderful things. I genuinely believe he works through the things that we do, the works of our own hands, but he turns them into something that is even better than we could have envisioned when we're prepared to fully surrender those things to him. There is an extraordinary life waiting for us. And it doesn't mean being rich and famous. It doesn't mean leaving your home and traveling around the world. It doesn't necessarily mean change to your circumstances at all. Though it could mean any of those things, of course. I don't know what God has in mind for your life. What it means is living your very, very, very best life. Here and now. It's living with God in every single moment. It's being open to whatever He asks you to do, giving your whole heart and soul and mind and body to Him, doing what He says, just because He said so, not for any concern of how it might impact you and your life personally, knowing that He's going to take care of all of that because He's promised it, and He's promised to work in ways beyond our imagination. That frees us up to just serve, to just do what He has called us to do. And I guarantee you, when you start living your life in openness to God and His ways, then you will start seeing things beyond your own imagination. You will start seeing the extra in your ordinary. But it's not going to be easy, because putting aside self is never, ever, ever an easy task. Putting aside the desires that gratify us, that our cultures dictate are the most important things for us, is difficult. We don't realize how influenced we are by those things. If we want to move into the realm that is beyond our imagination, then we need to cast those things off. We need to be transformed by the renewing of our minds, by spending time with God, by spending time in His Word. It's a process that we can begin right now. Less of us and more of Him. So I don't know about you, but if God's thoughts and plans and methods for my life are better and beyond anything that I can imagine for myself, then that's what I want. I don't want to settle for less than His best, because I'm so determined to do things my own way. I want the best that He has in mind for my life. I want the extraordinary. His ways are far beyond anything you could imagine. That is exciting. We are allowed to be excited by this life that we are living. Even when it's hard, even when it's difficult, we can still stand on the truth of that word and know that He is working on our behalf in ways that we can't even begin to imagine. Thank you so much for joining me today as we've dug into the Bible again together. I'll be back on Friday for some more thoughts from the Bible, so I will see you then.